Mermaid Minnow in the first video I filmed in the year 2021. So a couple of things you guys might notice is that the area that I'm in is a smidgen different. So I'm still on the exact same filming location. You can see I have my wooden shelves over here that are usually in the corner. I have my mermaid tail up, but the couch I'm sitting on is different. So this was a Christmas gift from my mother, a different futon than I had, which is a lot smaller, which I like a lot. But things have changed a little bit. I do plan on the year 2021 changing up my mermaid grotto. That's actually where we're at right now. So things will kind of change as we go through the year, but I just wanted to call that out in case you're like, wait a second, this looks a little different. What I want to talk about in today's video, however, is something that I've been trying to get to you guys for months. So where I'm at right now, it's cold. It is anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit on a good day, which for some of you that might be laughable, but what that means is there's no outdoor swimming at all right now. And with the restrictions that we have on pools due to the state of the world right now, it does make it very difficult to get out and go swimming as often as I would like to, and it makes it difficult for filming as well. So why I bring that up is because I wanted to talk a little bit about something else that I turn to when I need to relax and escape, and that is video games. So there's been a couple of different video games on my channel. I've done a couple of different Animal Crossing playthroughs, but I'm not going to talk about Animal Crossing today. What I'm going to talk about is Merfolk and video games that I have played. A couple of disclaimers before we get started on the games that I've chosen for you is like I just said, these are games that I have played. There are tons of games out there that feature Merfolk in some capacity, but I'm not going to talk or recommend games to you guys that I have never played myself. Because I'm not the type of person who likes to do that. So I'm going to talk about the ones that I have played, but I also have them, there's 4 different ones that we're going to go over today, and the list and the order that I put them in is only the order I came up with them in, not my least favorite to most favorite, opposite way, nothing like that. In fact, my favorite video game is not even on this list, so we're just gonna go over what I have for you guys. Another thing being that there is one video game that does have a spoiler in it because of the type of gameplay that there is, so I have gone ahead and in the description below put timestamps for each video game we'll be talking about today, so you can skip around. If there's one that you're interested in learning more about, you can see, but you can also skip that one in particular. I will go a little bit over the game and like what the gameplay is and show a little bit of that before I actually tell the spoiler, and right before the spoiler comes up I will say spoiler alert and give you a chance to move on to the next game after that. Another thing is when I'm talking about Merfolk in video games, I'm not thinking of your stereotypical mermaid tail, that sort of thing. What I'm looking for is specifically humanoid aquatic creatures that show up in the video games I play. So not all of them are going to look very mermaid-esque. In fact, some of them are more creature-like than human-like, and that is totally fine, but I just wanted you to know that was kind of my standard in choosing games. I'm also choosing games that have merfolk in them, not games like Animal Crossing, for instance, that have mermaid themes, or things like that, like Animal Crossing has the mermaid furniture. So it's specifically going to be you run into merfolk in some capacity. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the 4 different video games that feature merfolk that I've played that I think you guys might also enjoy. So let's dive in and get started. So the first game I thought of is actually 2 games, and that is Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. We'll talk specifically about why I chose just the first 2 out of all of them, but what you need to know about the game is Kingdom Hearts is essentially, you got Final Fantasy games and you've got Disney, and you take them and you put them together, and that is Kingdom Hearts. So you play as a main character named Sora along with Donald and Goofy, the classic Disney characters we know and love, and you go to different worlds trying to defeat what are called the Heartless. I could go into so much depth as what the Heartless are, and then there's nobodies, and then there's... we're not going to do that. Anyone who plays Kingdom Hearts knows that the series story and lore got so complicated, I don't think anyone really understands it anymore. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there if you want to learn more about it. But we're going to talk about the first two games because it features our favorite mermaid, Ariel. So in the first Kingdom Hearts, going to Atlantis is like going to any other world. It's defeating the Heartless and moving on. So the gameplay itself is a little bit different. You're swimming, Sora becomes half shark, Donald becomes an octopus duck, and Goofy is a turtle. It's weird. But you get to hang out with Ariel and kind of, it's not exactly the Little Mermaid story if I remember correctly. It's been a minute since I played it. But you kind of just get to go around, attack some Heartless, make things better. The second game, however, I personally liked a lot more than the first game because it kind of gave a break in the gameplay. Now I know there's people out there who've played the Kingdom Hearts and are probably upset with me saying that I liked it because it's definitely not for everyone. But what I think most Merfolk will really like about this part of the game is you get to sing along with Ariel. Ariel in both the first and second Kingdom Hearts in the English version is voiced by our girl Jodie Benson. So not only do we get to hear Jodie Benson sing Part of Your World again, but we get to hear her sing some other songs as well. And so it's really a fun hanging out with Ariel. Again, it's a break in gameplay, and it's just a good time. So if you're a Disney fan yourself and you're looking for a game where you get to hang out with different Disney characters and go to their worlds, but also get some action into it, I highly recommend Kingdom Hearts as a game for you guys to play because I have enjoyed that game since it originally came out on the PlayStation 2. It also is a bit easier to play now that they have the remastered versions, so you can go ahead and buy those now, and they do have an easier difficulty than before. So if you're looking for not too difficult of gameplay to pick up as well, again, it's one that I recommend. Next on my list, I have a game that might surprise some of you, but it's World of Warcraft. So I know this game, back when it first came out, was sort of like memed to death. Like there was the stereotypical World of Warcraft player you thought of, but trust me, this game is actually pretty fun. And honestly, I've been playing the game on and off for years, since I was in middle school. So I have always enjoyed coming back to this game. But why I included this in the list is you run into tons of different merfolk along the game. So what you do in this game, it's a MMO, so it's a mass multiplayer online, so you are playing with other players all around the world. You can join up with them to do quests and raids and that kind of stuff. So how the game is played is essentially quest-based grinding. So you're trying to level up while you're doing different types of quests. World of Warcraft has a really, really rich lore and story, and so there's tons of different expansion packs where you can also add on to it, all different sorts of things, which makes it really interesting and kind of what brings me back all of the time. But also I do enjoy that kind of grind that you have to level up. Sometimes it's just nice to go out and kick some baddies' butts and then go get some rewards for it. So that's kind of the premise of the gameplay. But why I chose it is because there are a variety of different aquatic creatures, humanoid creatures that you can run into in the game. So I'm not even going to list all of them. I'm sure you guys, if you want to, you can go ahead and comment some of the others that I might have forgotten. But some of the ones that you can run into are the Naga, or, you know, in this gameplay video here, you can see my Mertender and I, we ran into some sirens and some pirates, which was a really fun storyline, and it was fun to kind of do that. Because we ran into them a few times, actually. There's tons of different merfolk that you can run into, and it's just a fun game. Like I said, my Mertender and I, we go and we play together, and we really just enjoy doing it. It's just fun to do together. So the really cool thing about this is, even though the game is subscription based, which means you have to pay to play, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but you can actually do a demo of the game up to level 20. So you can play the game, download it from Blizzard, who's the developer of the game, and you just, like I said, can play for free up to level 20. It is limited in what you can and can't do, but it does give you a good feel to see if that's a game you would like to play or not. So it's not something you have to commit to, but if you have some time, you want to try it, feel free. The third game on my list, and the only game with the spoiler in it, is Return of the Obra Dinn. So this game is not like the other two games we talked about. The other two games we talked about are, you know, you're going out, you're kicking some baddies' butts. These next two games, there's no attacking baddies in it at all. So this game is a point-and-click adventure mystery game. So what happens is you have to go onto a ship called the Obra Dinn and find out what happened to all of the passengers on the ship. So if you're somebody who likes detective type games like the Nancy Drew games, or there's tons of others out there, I personally really like Nancy Drew, then you will really like this game. In this game, you find clues on the ship which tell the story of how the crew members were lost or got away. So it's a really, really unique way. You go in like layers upon layers upon layers of this mystery. You get to hear what happened, see everything, figure out who they are based on, you know, their rooms, and you have a map. And it's just crazy. The game is crazy and it is so much fun. I can't, again, if you like detective-based games, this is definitely a game for you. But I'm gonna go ahead and say this is the time where you need to move on if you don't want a spoiler, because spoilers for the Merfolk, okay? So, Merfolk show up in a couple of different capacities. We have these creatures that are on these crab things. We have a kraken, which I don't know if you can actually call that a merfolk, but we have a kraken that shows up. But what I'm specifically talking about that was kind of a cool little twist in the game is there are legitimate merfolk that come on and attack some crew members while they're, I don't know what they're doing. I didn't really understand that part of the game. Probably because when my mertender and I went through, we figured the game would give us a little bit more later on than it did. So if you're gonna play the game, really, really take the time, look the clues over, and you know, take it one step at a time, because otherwise you're gonna get a little lost. So we got a little lost, but these merfolk are coming into these dinghies and attacking the different crew members in there for a shell that they're trying to get. It was a really cool way to show some more darker siren type merfolk in a game that we haven't really seen before. It is something that I would, again, I can't recommend this game enough because it is such a unique game. If you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit spicy, I definitely recommend this game. So our fourth and final game that we're gonna be going over is The Sims 4. So The Sims 3 you can also play as mermaids, but it's actually really, really, really complicated to have it happen. And I personally have actually never been a mermaid. I've been those like kelp creatures you can be. I forget what they're called. But I've never played as a mermaid. In fact, I didn't know you could until we were looking it up. So I'm probably gonna have to replay The Sims 3 to try that. But in The Sims, what it is essentially is you get to build your own career, your own life. You get to marry people, you get to build houses. You essentially get to control somebody else's life. So The Sims are incredibly popular and have been since they originally came out. These Sims have been around for years. You know, you wouldn't think so if you hear The Sims and The Sims 4, but they've been around for a very, very long time. So one thing that's unfortunate with The Sims is that the mermaids don't come with the original game. You have to buy the expansion pack to be able to play as an actual mermaid. So in The Sims 3, it is called Island Paradise, and The Sims 4, it's called Island Living. Why I included this game is because, I mean, you get to play as a mermaid. That's, I mean, this is the only game on my list and the only game that I've played where you get to play as a mermaid. Why I really like this is because it adds a little bit more pizzazz to your gameplay. So instead of having to worry about like your hygiene, you're worried about your like water consumption, your hydration is what it's called. You also get the chance to have mermaid powers. Some of the mermaid powers include calling a dolphin. You can, I think you can drown someone, which is really morbid, but I think you can be a little siren-esque there. You can change the weather. You can sing a siren's lullaby, and I believe that also does affect people's, you know, relationship. You can make them fall in love with you. So it's really quite fun. You also have the ability to customize these mermaid tails really well. If you want to play a game that isn't difficult at all, there's no bad guys you defeat or anything like that, and it doesn't require any puzzling skills, then I highly recommend The Sims, because The Sims is just a fun game to play. And I think you would really enjoy playing as a mermaid in The Sims. So that's all I have for my list. I know there's tons of other games out there that feature merfolk, and like I said, I haven't played all of them. So if you want to, go ahead and comment down below a game that you might play that features merfolk, and tell me a little bit about it. Maybe it's something that I also want to try. Maybe someone else who reads the comments also wants to try it too, so let us know. If you're not already though, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, so that way you can join me on all of the mermaid adventures that are going to be coming with this new year of 2021. I also have my socials down in the description below, so if you want to see mermaid content on my other platforms and different types of content, you can follow me there too. I'll swim with you all in the next video. Bye guys!